Hey everybody, I want to Wisdom here. It is Friday the 26th, I think, of September 2014. Swap Force blind playthrough is basically complete. I just need to buy out Tux Emporium and, of course, release a huge, massive backlog of videos. They are all uploaded to YouTube. They just need to be released. So that's mainly like a time thing for me. But a couple things I wanted to do, and I've been holding on to this information since E3. Now, at E3, the overwhelming consensus from the Skylanders community was there just wasn't much information to come out. While that's kind of true, obviously now we know in retrospect they held it out for little events and festivals and, European and all sorts of little gaming conventions and assemblies throughout the year after the middle of June when E3 was. But as such, I mean, basically at E3, before we went to dinner and everything, I kind of learned that there was just like very little that could be talked about or revealed. Even though everyone knew what it was, they had to kind of keep tight lips and save it for a later date. Now, as such, I take advantage of the time. Again, I'm the type of person that's like once a year. When it's rare to get to go, it's something that's hard to be a part of. And so when you have the opportunity to pick the brains of the people behind the game or engage in conversations with them, I try to take advantage of that. I don't want to talk about the weather or particulars, what's going on the current day. I want to try and get as much information or insights as I can on the game. One of the things that I did, since I couldn't really get, hey, why was Mini Genie on the poster? Or what's up with that thing that looked like T-Bone? What is the hub world? Since things like that were off limits, it got to a point where I was actually pitching ideas. Now, I started doing this at E3, all over the place. On the Nintendo side, where they had a booth, the Activision deal, the presentation, pretty much to anyone that would listen, I was willing to pitch ideas to. One of the things, for anyone that's been around the series long enough, you know that there's the chase variants. You can see, like right back there, kind of where my index finger is beside the McDonald's Chompy, that's Red Dunebug. He was from the Toy Fair. There's stuff like the metallic green Shroom Boom that's easy to come by. There's whatever you want to call them, Copper Hot Dog from E3 last year. There's things like that are kind of limited special release, but then there's things like Silver Dino Ring, Silver Boomer, Gold and Silver Stink Bomb, and Trap Shadow. Those are variants that Activision basically sends out to all the retailers, and what they intend is that you come in and you've got, we'll say 6 of them. I don't know, we'll say 6 Series 2 Wrecking Balls. And 5 of them are regular, and then there's one that's a little bit different. And that would be this one right here. It's the metallic purple Wrecking Ball. Now, the reason I was able to get this one was sent to me, and then the other one, it was actually the last variant I found. As you should know, I look for variants all the time. That's how I found this recent run of Trap Team news. With Outlaw, Brawl, and Chain at Target, etc. I wasn't in there looking for Trap Team stuff. I was actually combing the shelves thinking, hey, this is one of the times people won't be looking for Swap Force stuff. Maybe something snuck through the woodwork. Now, what happens, places like GameStop that have their distribution hub in Grapevine, they literally get these crates in from the factory and they yank the variants. And then they don't ship them to the individual stores. What you see at like a Toys R Us, a Walmart, a Target, the employees, even if they don't care about the game, they'll come in and they'll take the purple metallic Wrecking Ball and they'll either keep it for themselves, maybe because they're a big fan of the game, which is the rare minority. I want to caution you. I do know someone that does that and they are actually into the game. The local Toys R Us, there's someone that's big time into like diecast, and that's part of the reason this dude works there, so he can pull the treasure hunts and the white lightnings and the whatnots of the diecast world. And then there's just creepy people that do it to make money. And you would be amazed how many people actually work at Walmart so they can do this sort of thing with rare toys, even like the hot Christmas toys they do it, and it's really disgustingly sick people. But it's something that cannot be avoided. Activision can continue to send out. They could even send out 4 purple metallics or whatever the next color variant was. And the employees will continue to grab them. Now, your best chance to get a variant is right at the launch or the release of the new variant. I think that's why they keep it tight-lipped. Maybe there's like a really subtle change to Riptide and people in the back might not notice it immediately. And your other time is launch, release of new characters, and then at Christmas. And the reason you can sometimes find them around Christmas, it's not necessarily an influx, of shipments. I guess that has something to do with it. But it's primarily at Christmas time, the big retailers bring in a crud ton of part-time help. Everyone is stressed out. They're overworked. The regulars that are usually plucking the Skylanders are probably stressed out. And they have a lot of toys to hawk and more things to buy and hawk on eBay at outrageous prices. And so what happens is, like the part-timer, maybe the kid from high school that just gets that job on Christmas break or something, they don't really care about this. They don't know about it. And so they just go out and they shelve everything. That's actually when I found this. I was right around that time here, basically Black Friday forward. So that's literally your best chances to find them. However, as I mentioned, what happens is employees will be inclined to take them. This is something I've made note of for quite some time. It's really not fair. If it was like a die-hard Skylander person, I would let it slide, but the fact is, they're not just like sending one of these. They're probably in that employee's time, they probably pocketed several of these, bought them sometimes with a discount, and then they're selling multiples, or even hooking friends up or something, But it's not what the manufacturer intends. They want this to be special. They want it to be fun. It's essentially incentive for the person that has all the Skylanders that have just been released to continue to go in every week and hope that, hey, maybe I can find this new variant. Maybe I'll find something strange. Maybe it'll be my lucky day. And that's taken away basically by the greed of the employees. And a lot of times management's unaware. Oftentimes, more so than you would know, management is totally aware of it. I know of a local store in another one that's fairly local, and management actually pulls this stuff and they put it in a shopping cart and then they kind of like divvy it up with anyone else that's aware of it. It's pretty weird, but it's what people do. It's human nature, and it sucks for everyone and it's sad. One of the ideas I pitched, and it was very well received. Is there a chance it'll happen? Yes. Is there a chance it won't happen? Absolutely. But something I said, and this makes a lot of sense. Some of you may hate me for it if it happens. Some of you may think it's the greatest thing ever. I don't know. And bear in mind, I don't even know if this is going to happen, but it was well received. I'll give you that. So basically what I said is, we'll just pretend all these were wrecking balls. This one, although it's a bad example, he's kind of blends in, but just pretend like it was Dunebug or something, and this was like an easy-to-come-by variant. Sticks out like a sore thumb, okay? I didn't advise that they do away with the shiny things. I mentioned it could be something more subtle, like maybe making the fish a different color or the armor silver, or something that's not going to be as get your attention as solid silver or a solid gold or something transparent green. That's going to get anyone's attention. They might even think it was a defect or something and then research it and be like, oh, I can take this and sell it for $200. That's fantastic. And so they're going to do it. What I said is make them all the same. The variants will look exactly the same. And you're probably thinking, what is the point in that? You're an idiot. Well, here's my deal. We'll assume that, actually, let's just bring Dunebug back up here. So, here we have two Dunebugs, right? And just pretend, for all intents and purposes, that this one right here looks just like standard Dunebug. Now, they're sitting on the peg. The employees stock them because they're both identical. They're not the silvers or the golds or metallic red or anything rare. And they're just there on the shelf. You, your parents, your uncle, your aunt, your grandparents, a neighbor, whoever it may be, someone invited to your birthday party, they come in and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to grab this for so-and-so who's into Skylanders, and they pick this one up. You take it, you get it, you're happy, you're like, oh cool, it's Dunebug, I got to check this guy out. You go and you place him on the Portal of Power, and it pops up that it's a special Dunebug, or, this is a variant Dunebug. And that way, it kind of flies under the radar with the scalpers. They would literally have to sit there, which some of them will do if this happens, and they'll place every one of them on a portal. Now, hopefully, management would be onto this and be like, you're not spending, 2 hours of my time putting these things on the portal, and they'll probably lie and say they need to make sure they work or something. But for a little while, if this happens, there will be a window that people won't be aware of it. And as such, you could come into the store and you would buy one of the two regular-looking dune bugs. Someone buys this one, they take it home, it's regular dune bug. You bought this one, it goes on your portal of power, and it's a variant of dune bug. Or it says, congratulations, you found a rare dune bug, and it appears different in the game, or it just has the extra cash, or it says special, whatever it may be, probably special with some cash, or level 5 or 10 maybe now, since it's, increased level caps or something. But the bottom line is, this would make it to where it's truly a crapshoot. Granted, like I said, people could come in and you could actually place them all on a portal. Employees might do it, but it's not going to be the same as just like, okay, I'm stocking my 19th dune bug. Oh wait, why is this one shiny? I better keep that here in the back so I can buy it when my shift's up and sell it on eBay. That's what I was trying to combat, and that, to me, I thought was a pretty good idea. And like I said, a couple of the people that heard it, they thought it was maybe they were lying, maybe they were humoring me. I pitched a couple ideas, and they were not fans of, and I could pick up on that. So this was one that was well received, and it might actually translate to something we see in Trap Team or on down the road. And to me, it's really the best way to handle it, because what they intend is like I described earlier. You're going in, you're looking for, the Wave 2 Skylanders, right before the holiday rush. You're combing through them, and where you used to see maybe, the silver and gold stink bomb or trap shadow, now that won't be there. And as such, it also won't be pulled by an employee. It would literally be a deal where you would just come in and you would get the figure and you put it on your portal at home, and it would be registered as a special Skylander. I know that kind of was like, oh, well, I want them to look different, yada, yada. The fact of the matter is, it's that RFID chip in the Skylander that registers in the game. It's going to say that it's special. And then, if people go on and they hawk those on eBay and then they're selling regular ones, that's beyond me. That's why you don't deal on that stuff. I'm a big advocate for getting what you can get locally, or what you're sure of as a concrete deal, and taking it from there. But that was my thoughts. That's going to allow, we'll say a mom and 2 kids to run in. The girl picks up Torch, and, the little boy picks up, we'll say, I don't even know, Blades or something, or Chopper. And then they get home, and the girl puts Torch on the portal, and it's special Torch, and it's level 5 with some cash for her. And then the boy puts Chopper on, and he's level 5 with some cash. And to me, that's what they were trying to do with these special variants, is just say, hey, you're here, you're buying the toys, look what you just found. It's something special, something unique, not something common. And that's being taken away, whether they want it to be or not, by the people that actually stock these things. And like I told you, you can go through life with rose-colored glasses, but the fact of the matter is, there are many, many people that take that job at Toys R Us or at Walmart, and it's solely to intercept things like this and then go hawk them on eBay. And a lot of the people buy them with a discount. There's a woman at a Walmart in my area, and that is what she does. And it's not just Skylanders, it's virtually anything collectible. She does it with all the hot console launches. Every year she's been doing it. She's been well known basically since the Nintendo Wii came out. And she sends her whole family, and they basically try to buy everything up. And then she uses her kids, and I think now grandkids, to actually be part of it. And all the retailers, if you're in there like me, you're older, late 20s or something, and you're just shooting the breeze, you start to hear these stories. And you realize that the guy at Toys R Us is telling you about the same woman that the guys at GameStop are. And then the girl at Target knows of her. And you just kind of start to piece it together, and you realize there's some really, really lame people in the world that do strange things all in the name of making a buck. And like I said, would she still put these on a portal and take them? Possibly, but it's going to make it a lot harder for her to do that. And then in the end, you walk home with the riptide that you put on the portal that's special. And like I said, the backlash from the collectors, so be it. But the fact of the matter is, if you're going out and you're spending $150 on these things, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to support that person. I'm not going to look out for your interest there. I'm more concerned about the grassroots people. People like myself that just go in still, almost 4 games into this thing, and last week, or this week on Tuesday night, I made the rounds and I was actually walking around and I went into Targets. I don't need any Skylanders. I've got the Swap Force set. They didn't even have a sale going. But I specifically walked all the way back to electronics in hopes that maybe I'd find like some freak crystal stealth elf or a purple metallic lightning rod. And I know there's some people out there like myself that do the same thing. And then on the flip side, I know that there would be kids that would come in and they'd be like, wow, there's a gold flame slinger, and they'd like freak out and try to tell their mom it's special. And this, while it takes away that aspect of it, it's going to make it really hard for the creeper pirates of the world to actually continue to intercept these special figures. Would it be advisable if that happens for you to place them on your portal before opening? Absolutely. But that wouldn't be required. And you have to realize, I mean, the majority of this stuff is intended for the kids. And as such, if they get it out and they have a chopper that they open up, tear into on the car ride home, slam it on the portal when they get home and it registers special, they're on cloud 9 and the last thing on their mind is like, oh geez, I just ruined the mint packaging. They're like, wow, this is awesome. And that's what they want from the variants, is they want to share that, wow, this is really cool, look what I found. And like I said, that's something I had come up with. I thought it would kind of thwart the evil eBay pirates of the world. Granted, those of you that purchase from them for excessive prices are kind of part of the problem. I've said that for a while now. But it would make their life miserable, and that would make all of us happy. And then, like I said, maybe you come in, you buy a Skylander, you take it home, and you've got a variant. You've got a special Skylander. You've got a rare, limited number, some odds and some odds, of getting something similar to what you had. And I just think it would be better for the community, because then it's getting the figures in the hands of the people that they intend them to be in, which is not the local scalper lady. It's for the end user, the person that genuinely cares about it. And then if said people, start pirating them or whatever, so be it. But it's another step in the right direction to prevent it. And it's something I came up with. I pitched it. Will it happen? I don't know. I mean, the variants are pretty cool. They've gone over great as is. People pay crazy money for them, which I'm sure, on the back end, if you manufacture these, you think, wow, that is insane. We have such a big fan base, and they're willing to go to these links to get some rare figure. But on the flip side, there's also the practical end, which I kind of presented, that this gets those special rare figures in the hands of the people that you really and truly intended for them to wind up in, So, that said, let me know your thoughts on that crazy idea I pitched. If you think it's a great idea, if it's the dumbest thing you've ever heard, if you would back that. But really, it's something that I've heard from people, for the past 3 years. It's like, hey, I've been shopping. I go in every day, or my dad or mom runs in. Grandma's retired, and she checks Toys R Us every day, or when the trucks come in for me. We have never found a variant. Well, part of that's because they get yanked by the employees. It's not because you're unlucky. It's not for lack of trying. It's just you're basically getting the shaft by the people that work there. I know my local Toys R Us, when I went in, they botched my Wii U. 2 years ago, I'd pre-ordered it through them, and they thought that they'd sold mine. And I was kind of like freaking out, because at the time, she thought the Wii U might be like the Wii, and it was going to be super hard to find. And they're like, oh my gosh, I don't think we have it. So they took me into the back with them, and they had the shopping cart. This was after Giants had come out, and like the Stone or the Rock Zook and Whirlwind and all those characters that were, launch day releases, they were all in a shopping cart. Right there behind the closed doors, which means they were pulled by employees or management. And that's why when I found this little guy here at Toys R Us, I was pretty proud of it, because I knew that I'd beaten them at their own game, and I did it, again, because probably someone part-time threw it out there. Plus, that one actually really does blend in well. If you're not paying attention, it doesn't stick out like a silver or a gold or something, or a red metallic or a translucent. That really does kind of look just like a regular wrecking ball. So that may have helped me a little bit. But like I said, I know if it happened here locally, if it happens here, it probably happens in your town. And that's a little something I came up with. I thought it might be good. And like I said, a couple of the people I presented it to said that's actually a really good idea. So will it translate this time? I don't know. Will it be something maybe in the 5th installment we could see? Absolutely. No one's gotten back to me on it. Obviously, I don't think anyone would tell me if they implemented it. But I'm hopeful that someday I buy a regular Skylander, I bring it home, and it turns out to be a variant. And then I can laugh in the face of that scalper lady that pillages all the stores locally. So that said, like I mentioned, let me know your thoughts on this crazy idea. And like I said, didn't get a ton of information there. I came back with a positive vibe on the game because I got to play it. I've tried to stress that to people. I think a lot of people overlook that. And it's like, man, there wasn't any information. And here in retrospect, a couple months later, we know a crud ton of stuff about the game. So it was kind of a slow, staggered stage release. They knew what they were doing, what they wanted to accomplish, keep the buzz going. And here we are, I think less than 10 days away from the game. I'd say they did a pretty good job with that. So while that was a bummer, I did take advantage of my limited time and I pitched some ideas. So big question I've been getting now lately regards battle mode. And supposedly it's not going to be in this game. I didn't pitch that idea, eliminating it completely, but I did pitch an idea that ties in with that. Will that be something that comes to fruition? I have no way of knowing, but I will tell you the idea I pitched, and I did that again based on my 3 years of experience myself and from what I collected from those around me. So I'm going to make a second video about that. Be sure to check it out. And again, let me know your thoughts on this one. I don't care if you think I'm crazy. I truly am trying to look out for people like myself, people with kids, the genuine people that aren't going to go out or can't go out and spend $300 to get their silver version of their kid's favorite character, but try really hard to find them in the stores and can't. And for reasons beyond really Activision's control, or even sometimes management might not be aware of it at the local stores. But let me know your thoughts. Again, I'm trying to look out for you, make things in the Skylander world as best they can be for everyone. So like I said, I feel like I've got a pretty good feel for what people want, and I took the opportunity to pitch some crazy ideas. So like I said, a lot of them weren't taken as well as I'd hoped. Some of them were. This was one of them. And again, I can't promise that you will ever see this come to fruition. On launch day, we could see silver and gold variants right off the bat. I don't know. But it is something I pitched. I wanted you to be aware that I had done it, and I'm trying to look out for the best interest of the community as a whole. So again, let me know your thoughts. Maybe if people in the brass, the back end, the tops of the companies see this stuff, they'll think, wow, that actually was something, and look at the people rallying behind it type situation. Also, the adult merchandise, if you are over the age of like 12 and can't fit into the really cool Skylanders gear and you would like adult merchandise, take the time to either go back to the Chaos t-shirt video and chime in there, or do that here. And again, I'm just trying to look out for everybody. It's something I want, the people I communicate with, it's something they want. Obviously, it's an older audience or people that are too big for youth sizes, but we would wear that stuff. It's just not available, to the general public readily. So, let me know your thoughts there as well, but I'll come back and kind of address some of the battle mode stuff that people have been asking me about. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed, do so. You're going to want to make sure you have that done. Tons of videos are coming out. Plus, we've got Trap Team in a few days, so stay tuned for that. You can follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, circle me on Google+. If you are on Twitch, make sure you are following me there. Live streaming quite a bit these last couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. But once again, let me know your thoughts. I'll quit rambling, and I will catch you back here for a little bit on Skylanders Battle Mode.